Habs faithful, let's get right to it. Are we, the Montreal Canadiens, truly considering sacrificing our long-term vision and the development of our young, skilled core for a 34-year-old physical winger with a hefty price tag? I'm talking about Blake Coleman, and the whispers from Pierre Lebrun on RDS this morning have sent a tremor through the fan base. It's a question that cuts to the core of our identity, especially after the exhilarating, yet ultimately heartbreaking playoff run last spring. We saw firsthand how the intensity ratchets up, how the physical toll can expose even the most talented rosters. But does that mean we abandon the path we've meticulously carved, the one focused on speed, skill, and youthful exuberance for veteran bruiser? The Canadiens, currently enjoying a surprisingly strong start to the 2026 season, are reportedly eyeing an upgrade in the physicality department. And while Coleman's 13 goals and 21 points in 43 games this season are respectable, let's be clear. His offensive production isn't the primary draw here. No, the interest, as reported, lies squarely in his veteran presence, his invaluable playoff experience, and that relentless, physical style of play. This is a player who won back-to-back Stanley Cups with the Tampa Bay Lightning, accumulating over 50 playoff games under John Cooper. He's the kind of player every coach dreams of having when the stakes are highest. Intense, a relentless forechecker, finishes his checks, contributes on the penalty kill, and still possesses a nose for the net. Coleman, despite weighing in at just under 200 pounds, plays significantly above his weight class, giving maximum effort on every single shift. He's currently ranked 26th in the entire NHL with 107 hits this season, a total that would lead the Canadiens by a significant margin. This isn't just about adding a body, it's about injecting a specific, battle-tested mentality into a locker room that, outside of Josh Anderson and Arbor Shakaj, isn't exactly known for its intimidation factor. Samuel Blais has been a welcome addition, showing that physical edge with 36 hits in his last 10 games, ranking 21st in the league. This style of hockey, this grit and determination, often carries teams further in the playoffs than pure skill alone. And let's be honest, the Canadiens already possess an abundance of skill. The next logical step is to find the right complementary pieces to surround those players, not just to protect them, but to physically challenge opposing teams. But here's where the emotional tug-of-war begins. Our user base, our loyal fans, have been vocal about preferring young, elite centers over veteran wingers in trade considerations. We've been dreaming of a long-term cornerstone like Elias Persson. So, the idea of bringing in a 34-year-old winger, even one with Coleman's pedigree, raises legitimate questions about our long-term strategy. Is this a short-sighted move to capitalize on a surprisingly good season, or a calculated risk to accelerate our competitive window? The potential impact on our salary cap, with Coleman carrying a $4.9 million AAV for another year beyond the season, creates a significant hurdle for General Manager Kent Hughes. This isn't just a hockey trade, it's a philosophical one. Are we ready to deviate from the rebuild blueprint for a taste of immediate playoff success? The tension is palpable, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The allure of Blake Coleman is undeniable, especially if the Canadiens continue their current trajectory and find themselves on the cusp of the playoffs. As we painfully learned last spring, the playoffs are a different beast entirely. Games become tighter, the physicality intensifies, and smaller, less intimidating teams can be exposed quickly. Players like Coleman, with his championship pedigree and relentless motor, gain immense value in those environments. He brings a level of intensity and experience that few on the current Canadiens roster possess. Imagine a third line featuring Coleman, a healthy Phil Danault, who was the first veteran addition this season, and Josh Anderson. That could be one of the most efficient and formidable lines in the league, precisely the kind of formation that thrives when the games truly matter. It's a tantalizing prospect, a vision of a Canadiens team that can not only outskill opponents, but also outmuscle them. However, as much as the on-ice fit makes sense, the financial implications and the long-term vision present a significant conundrum. Coleman's contract, with another year remaining beyond this season at $4.9 million, creates a complicated salary cap situation for Kent Hughes. The Canadiens are already operating with budget constraints, and fitting Coleman's cap hit into the equation would be the biggest obstacle. This isn't a simple acquisition, it's a chess match that requires strategic maneuvering. The most realistic and perhaps only option to create the necessary cap flexibility appears to involve Patrik Laine's contract. The speculation is that Laine would need to be moved, potentially even included in the trade package for Coleman. This scenario would offer Laine a fresh start, an opportunity to rebuild his value on a Calgary Flames team with less internal competition as he approaches free agency. But this isn't just about moving Laine, it's about the market's interest in him. The viability of acquiring Coleman hinges heavily on whether other teams are willing to take on Laine's contract. If there's no strong market for Laine, then the entire Coleman trade scenario could collapse. This adds another layer of complexity to an already intricate situation. Furthermore, if Coleman were to join the Canadiens, who would lose their spot in the lineup? The team is young and development is paramount. Would a promising prospect be benched or sent down to make room for a veteran? These are the tough questions General Manager Hughes must grapple with. While Coleman's resume and playoff performance are impressive, a thorough analysis is required to ensure that such an acquisition aligns with the organization's future plans. Our user base has consistently expressed a preference for building through youth and acquiring long-term cornerstones. A move for Coleman, while potentially beneficial in the short term, could be perceived as a deviation from that core philosophy. The discussion around the Canadiens' needs has also evolved. For a long time, the rumor mill focused on acquiring a number 2 center. But with Oliver Kapanen's impressive rookie season, showing great chemistry with Demidov and Slavkovsky, and the impending return of Kirby Dach, plus the promising collegiate career of Michael Hage, the internal options at center seem robust. This shifts the focus to a 2A type of winger, a role Coleman could perfectly fill. Or perhaps, as some suggest, adding depth on defense, an area where you can never have enough talent. The goaltending situation, with Montembeault attempting a comeback and the presence of Fowler and Dobes, also plays a role. If Montembeault reestablishes himself, a goaltending move might be unnecessary, further solidifying the focus on a player like Coleman. The Canadiens are ahead of schedule, and the question remains: how much are they willing to spend in terms of assets for a year where they're already exceeding expectations? The Coleman pursuit is a high-stakes gamble, a fascinating blend of immediate opportunity and long-term strategic considerations. So, here we stand at a pivotal moment for the Montreal Canadiens. The team is playing inspired hockey, exceeding expectations, and suddenly, the playoffs don't seem like a distant dream but a tangible goal. The potential acquisition of Blake Coleman represents a fascinating crossroads. On one hand, he embodies everything a team needs to succeed in the grueling postseason: grit, experience, leadership, and a relentless physical edge. He's a proven winner, a player who elevates his game when the lights are brightest. The thought of a third line with Coleman, Danault, and Anderson is genuinely exciting, a unit that could dominate defensively, wear down opponents, and still chip in offensively. This isn't just about adding a player, it's about adding a playoff warrior, someone who understands the intensity and demands of championship hockey. However, the path to acquiring Coleman is fraught with challenges, primarily the financial gymnastics required to fit his $4.9 million cap hit for another year. The most likely scenario involves moving Patrik Laine, a significant piece of business that depends entirely on the market's appetite for his contract. This isn't a simple swap, it's a complex negotiation that could have ripple effects throughout the roster. Who would be the odd man out? How would this impact the development of our younger, skilled wingers who are pushing for roster spots? Kent Hughes has a delicate balancing act on his hands. How to enhance the team's immediate competitiveness without mortgaging the future or disrupting the carefully cultivated growth of our prospects. This is the essence of the Coleman conundrum. A player who perfectly fills a need, but at a cost that demands careful consideration of our long-term vision. The Canadiens are at an exciting juncture, and decisions made in the coming weeks could define the trajectory of this team for years to come. Do we go all in for a playoff push, leveraging our current success to acquire a battle-tested veteran like Coleman? Or do we stay the course, prioritizing financial flexibility and the continued development of our young core, even if it means a slightly slower path to contention? There's no easy answer, and the debate within the organization and among the fan base is undoubtedly intense. This isn't just about one trade. It's about the identity of the Montreal Canadiens. Now, I want to hear from all of you, the most passionate hockey fans in the world. What are your thoughts on this potential move for Blake Coleman? Is he the missing piece for a deep playoff run, or is his contract and age too much of a risk for a team still building for the future? Should Kent Hughes prioritize a physical winger, or should he stick to the plan of acquiring young elite centers? Drop your opinions, your analyses, and your wildest trade scenarios in the comment section below. Let's get this discussion going, because your voice matters. And if you're enjoying this deep dive into the Canadiens world, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for all the latest news, rumors, and exclusive insights into our beloved Habs. We'll keep you updated every step of the way.